everyone. This is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com, here to do your monthly angel card reading for March 2018. For those of you that are new to my channel, I also do weekly angel card readings, so you'll want to be sure to see the week-by-week forecast as well. But for this monthly reading, as I do for all the monthly readings, we're going to take a look at the numerology vibration of the month, the tarot vibration of the month, the astrological highlights of the month, the messages from our angels and guides through particular divination decks that I'm going to mention here in a moment, and finally a special message card. So for this month's monthly reading, the main message is going to come from the Syrian Starseed Tarot deck, which is by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha. It's one of my favorite tarot decks to use, although I often use the Angel Tarot, Fairy Tarot, and Archangel Power Tarot, as many of you know, for the weekly readings. For this weekly reading, depending on your stone of choice, which I'll show you here in just a moment, that special message is going to be coming from the Magical Messages from Your Fairies deck by Doreen Virtue. So before we get into the energy for the month of March, let's show you what the stones of choice are. And I've been guided by my angels and guides to ask you, or to gently guide you, to just pick whatever you're drawn to for this month. Those of you that watch my readings know that I often will give you what that stone is about, or what it rules, or what chakra it's associated with. But for this monthly reading, they want you to just go on your intuition and your inner guidance. Again, what are you drawn to? So the first stone of choice is a beautiful, clear quartz crystal point. You can see how beautifully clear this particular quartz crystal point is. And see, I almost wanted to tell you what it's about. But again, they just want me to show these to you and have you use your intuition and guidance. Sort of a way to prompt you to start to learn to listen to what your inner higher guide is telling you, what your inner higher self is telling you, so that you can make appropriate decisions on a day-to-day basis in your life and feel more confident about that. Okay, your second stone of choice is amethyst, and the only thing I'm going to tell you about this is actually an amethyst Buddha. It's kind of hard maybe to tell, but this is one of the pieces that hasn't been quite packed away yet. As many of you know, I'm getting ready to move from Michigan to Oregon, Southern Oregon, and many things are already packed away, so there's only a few things left to pack, and this is one of them. So amethyst. And then your last stone of choice is a creamy white agate. Now, agates come in all different shapes and colors, and some of the agates come in various colors, like there's multicolors. This one is a particular, mostly milky white in color. Now, there is a little bit of orange here in some of it, and even on the other side, just a very little couple lines of orange in there in that creamy white agate. Okay, so again, your stones of choice are the clear quartz crystal point, the amethyst Buddha, and the creamy white agate. All right, let's set those aside. And let's talk a little bit about the energy for the month of March. Now, March actually vibrates to the number 14, which is a karmic number in numerology. And the way we get that is we take the universal year for 2018. If you add those numbers together, we get 11. And that is a master number 11. So those of you, again, that's new to the channel might want to go back and watch the monthly angel card reading for January. My YouTube channel is under my name, Colleen Lemma, and you can hear all about what that master number energy for the year of 2018 is about as well. But we take that universal number of 11 for 2018 and we add it to the number 3, because March is the third month in the year, and we get 14. That's how we get what the universal month number is for everyone. So this is a vibration that we're all under for the month of March. Let's look at the lower vibration, or I want to say the reduced vibration. It's not lower energy, but the reduced vibration of the 14 is just simply adding the 1 and the 4 together, and that equals the number 5. So the single digit vibration for March is the number 5, and 5 deals with change. 5 is all about change, redirection. Another keyword, big keyword for the number 5 is freedom. So in the month of March, we're going to be dealing with freedom energies, meaning we're breaking free from situations or circumstances or relationships that have been tying us down or holding us back in a way. We're starting to free ourselves from that. We're starting to make changes in our life that need to be made. We're looking for more adventure. We're looking for more opportunities. So there's going to be some redirection energies in the month of March that begin to happen. Now, one thing with the number 5 is that it can feel a little ungrounded because there's many things going on at the same time. So the number 5 is like multitasking and juggling many things at the same time, which sometimes leads to a little bit of a feeling of chaos and ungroundedness. So do what you can in this month to stay focused and stay grounded. Now, if we look at that number 14 before we reduce it down, which is the true universal month vibration for March, again, it is a karmic number, so we do want to look at the number 14, and that is all about karmic issues of freedom, you know, and so it just kind of takes that energy of the 5 and it brings it to more of a karmic level, meaning that from previous times past, you know, previous lifetimes, we might say, there is some karmic circumstances and situations that revolve around the idea of us being a free being, you know, or feeling free, if you will. Now, again, because it's not a personal vibration necessarily for you, this is the collective vibration. So there's something within the collective that is dealing with some sort of karmic issues of feeling like a free people, a free humanity. And there's going to be restlessness going on within the collective of humanity, wanting to make changes, wanting to redirect in some way towards something new and something different. So that brings in a little bit of that karmic energy on the collective level. The other thing we want to do is we want to show you what tarot card of the you know, as far as the tarot, what it vibrates to. So we always want to look at like the number that the month vibrates to. We want to look at that tarot card in the tarot deck. And since it's really the number 14, we want to look at the 14th major arcana. And the 14th major arcana in the traditional tarot is called Temperance. But in the Syrian Starseed Tarot, the 14th major arcana is called Alchemy. And I actually like this. I don't want to say a lot better, but you know, I'm going to tell you what temperance means, but also we have this idea of alchemy, which sounds much more mystical and, you know, almost a little bit more positive, because, you know, the idea of temperance is that we have to be a little patient while things are merging together and coming together in some way. Temperance means to stay balanced, you know, to have the energy of temperance means we have to have the energy of balance while we're moving through something, which makes sense. Because if the 5 energy is kind of chaotic and ungrounded, we want to keep a sense of balance as we're moving through some of these challenges. And that's the other thing with karmic number 14 is it might feel like there's a little bit of challenge that we're moving through as we get to the idea of freedom and freeing ourselves from whatever binds us. So again, temperance is the blending of opposites as well. And that's where we come to this card here, Alchemy. If we think of temperance as the blending of opposites, or taking 2 different things, blending them together to create something new, that's what alchemy does. That's what this card Alchemy means. It's like taking fire and water and putting them together, 2 elements that don't normally blend well together. And as we blend the fire and the water, we create something new, a new element. You know, and in one way, if we heat it up, the water with the fire, it's going to create steam. So that's what alchemy means, is we're taking 2 different things and we're putting them together to create something new. So think about that beyond the idea of elements in your life for this month of March. We're taking different energies in our lives, maybe something that's familiar to us, maybe something also then on the other side that's not familiar to us. We're blending them together to create a new energy, a new path, a new way of being or seeing or experiencing. And that's really what the alchemy here in this card means. Okay, so let's put that down and let's talk a little bit about the astrological highlights. Again, most of you that watch my videos regularly know that I only in the monthly reading talk about the highlights, otherwise it would be way too long of a video. So that's why we have the weekly readings to talk more specifically about the week-to-week energies. But I'm going to pull out some astrological highlights for the month of March. And we actually start out on the 1st of March with a full moon. So here we have a full moon at 11 degrees Virgo. Now, it's not an eclipse energy. We had, an eclipse in January. We had an eclipse in February. And we're past that eclipse season right now, although those eclipse energies are still active, remember, for weeks and months to come. And, one line of thought is that those eclipse energies of January and February are active and activated by other astrological transits until the next set of eclipses, which is going to be in the summertime. But this Virgo full moon is connecting with Neptune, which is a very spiritual planet, a spiritual energy, and it's also making a positive connection to Saturn, which can help to ground the energies a little bit more and assist us with manifestation a little bit more. So it kind of slows us down. Saturn likes to cause delays and slow us down, but it's usually for a good reason. In fact, one of the key phrases often with a Saturn transit is delays are in your best benefit. Delays are to your advantage. So think about it in that way. And with this full moon in Virgo, that means that the sun is actually in Pisces and the moon is in the opposite sign of Virgo. So we have a little bit of a conflict here between the spiritual emotional energy of Pisces, where the sun is and where Neptune is, and that logical, analytical, mental energy of where the moon is. Now, the moon is about our emotions and feelings, and so it's a little uncomfortable being in that logical, analytical sign of Virgo anyway. So this full moon, we might find that we're being pulled in two directions. Our heart might be pulling us in one direction and our mind in the other direction. Or the other way to look at that is our intuition might be saying one thing, whereas our ego mind might be saying something else. And so it's kind of like, what do you listen to here? Well, I feel that as long as you feel you're very centered and tuned into your higher soul self and to spirit or to God, that your intuition is going to trump the ego mind or the logical mind. The other thing that happens on the 1st, and I mention it because we have that full moon energy already happening, is that Venus and Jupiter in a positive aspect. And I think this is a really nice aspect and really important because both Jupiter and Venus are considered the benefic planets, meaning beneficial energy planets. Jupiter is the great or greater benefic, and Venus is the lesser benefic. So it's still a beneficial energy. It's just that Jupiter kind of trumps the Venus energy. But they're both energies that can bring in blessings. And they're positively connecting with one another. Venus is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Scorpio. Those are both water signs, which rules the emotional realm. So it could bring in some really nice energies here as far as emotions, feelings, relationships, empowerment, owning the power of the divine feminine, as Venus rules that divine feminine energy. So that happens right before the full moon. So I feel like that's actually a wonderful and blessed kind of energy to have. And then we're going to skip forward to the 6th of March. On the 6th of March, we have two planets changing to different signs. Both Mercury and Venus are moving out of Pisces and moving into the sign of Aries. Now, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is a water sign, which means it rules that emotional realm. And Aries is a fire sign, so it rules energy and action. And again, with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, we start moving into that idea of a new beginning. Okay, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and it rules kind of initiation. It's initiating a new beginning. Now that truly will set in when the sun moves into Aries a little bit later in the month of March. But we're starting to move out of all that Piscean energy that we had in the last month or so. We had many planets in Pisces, and we're going to continue to have Chiron in Pisces for a while. Neptune is going to be in Pisces for a while. But as far as the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, we now have the Mercury and Venus moving out of that Pisces, that energy of surrender, trust, and faith, going with the flow, and letting divine timing kind of just unfold as it will. Now we're able to start taking some action and initiating some ideas and initiating certain communications that we need to have in order to move forward on our path, with both Mercury and Venus moving into that sign of the zodiac. And then on the 8th of March, Jupiter, this is probably one of the biggest things that happens this month, is Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of blessings. It rules our belief systems. It's going retrograde at 23 degrees of Scorpio. Now, Jupiter stays in each sign of the zodiac for about a year. And so it moved into Scorpio last fall, 2017, and it's going to be in Scorpio until the fall of 2018, this year. So while it's been in Scorpio, we've seen it kind of expanding or exaggerating, as Jupiter likes to do, all of these energies that deal with Scorpio, the themes of Scorpio. Secrets, secrecy, power and control, disempowerment versus empowerment, sex and sexuality, secret societies or things that are happening under the radar that it's like the shadow side, the shadow government and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things being expanded with that Jupiter energy. Now it's going retrograde on the 8th, and that retrograde is going to internalize the energies a little bit. Whenever a planet turns to retrograde motion, it internalizes the energy and becomes a little bit more self-reflective, a little bit more about you on a personal level rather than expressing outwardly in your environment and around you. Now, it doesn't mean that what's been happening lately as far as outside of ourselves with that Jupiter and Scorpio is going to go away. But we start to kind of, again, reflect more with that energy of what Jupiter and Scorpio means, which is expanding into our empowerment. So with it going retrograde until July 10th, that's the retrograde cycle, it will be retrograde until July 10th before it turns back to direct motion. It gives us time to really look at where are we disempowering ourselves in our life. Do we feel empowered with what we're doing, what our path is all about, the relationships that we're in? So we start to really consider what are our belief systems about, self and life and our path and what we can and cannot do, how powerful we feel. And that's basically meaning on a good and spiritual level. How spiritually powerful do you believe you are? You create your own reality. You're co-creator of your reality with God's source energy. Yes, God, universe, is the director, but we're the co-creator. We're like the co-director of our lives. And so that Jupiter and Scorpio is trying to teach us to feel empowered, know that we're empowered, know that we have the power as co-creator of our reality to create whatever it is that we desire to create in our lives. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm looking here at my notes. On the 17th of March is when we have another planet changing signs. This is going to be Mars moving out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. Now, I personally liked Mars in Sagittarius because I have a lot of fire in my chart, and Mars is a fire planet and Sagittarius is a fire sign. So while Mars was in Sagittarius, there was a lot of action happening. There was a lot of events taking place. Things were unfolding at a quicker pace. Now, for some people, that might have been a little bit too much. It became a little chaotic. Things were happening really fast, and that can be overwhelming. But I really, again, I like that fire energy, and I know a lot of you do as well. With Mars now moving into Capricorn on the 17th, it's going to slow things down a little bit. I mean, things are still going to manifest, but it's going to take a little bit more work and effort, and it kind of slows down to a more steady, even keel now. Capricorn rules our life path, our destiny path, our career path, our goals, our ambitions. It rules recognition from people outside of us. So while Mars is traveling through Capricorn, there might be more of a concern or focus on our career and any projects that we're doing out in the world and how successful we feel we are, or attaining a certain status or recognition. So it's, Capricorn is very patient as far as climbing to the top as far as in their field, in their career, etc. So again, we might see a little bit more focus around our life path and our goals as Mars goes through Capricorn from the 17th of March through, I guess I didn't write it down. It'll be in Capricorn for, I'm going to say, about a month or maybe 6 weeks. So, just stay tuned. It's not like a quick transit. So you'll have definitely a lot of time as it moves through that sign of Capricorn. On the 20th, now the sun moves into Aries, along with Mercury and Venus, which moved into that sign on the 6th of March. So now we have those 3 planets in that first sign of the zodiac, that sign that initiates new things, new paths, new opportunities, new directions, which is really exciting. That's really the, the astrological new beginning for us as astrologers, is when the sun moves into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. It's like the astrological new year. We think the new year is January 1st, but the astrological new year is when the sun moves into Aries. It's the spring equinox. So this is a very important time period to initiate a new direction for yourselves and to assist that in unfolding. Again, Aries is action oriented. So take those actions and you'll see things unfolding rather nicely. On the 22nd, Mercury goes retrograde, and a lot of you have heard of Mercury retrograde. It happens several times a year. This Mercury retrograde is on the 22nd through April 15th. It stations at 16 degrees of Aries, so about the middle degree or so of Aries. It stations and turns retrograde. It goes all the way back to 4 degrees of Aries, so those of you that are early degree Aries are going to experience this much more perhaps than other people. So again, it's going to be retrograde till April 15th. Not a good idea to sign contracts, not a good idea to initiate anything new. If you're going to initiate something new, do it somewhere between the 4th of March after Venus and Mercury move into Aries, or right like on the 20th or 21st of March when the sun moves into Aries. I mean, even so, that's a little close to the Mercury retrograde to initiate something new. Now, it doesn't mean you can't initiate something new or start something new. Just know that because of Mercury retrograde on the 22nd, it just means that it might take a little bit of time for things to start to unfold. There might be details that need to be gone over or something that needs to be reviewed before things can move forward. That's all that means, okay? It doesn't mean it's going to stop it, or it doesn't mean that you're doomed or whatever. It just means that during Mercury retrograde, things need to be revamped a little bit. You have to rework something, and again, look at the details. Make sure if you are signing any contracts, which again wouldn't be suggested, but if you do have to, after that time of Mercury turning retrograde, make sure you read the fine print. Make sure you go through it, and look at the details before signing it, because there might be something there that is a discrepancy that you need to point out to somebody. And then as far as Mercury turning back to direct motion, again, that's going to be April 15th, it won't be totally out of its shadow until May 3rd. So just know that that shadow time afterwards, there's still things that are working out and, needing to be, what do I want to say, patiently gone through in order for things to move a little bit better. Now, talking about the shadow time after Mercury turns direct, let's talk about the shadow time before. And I, again, didn't write down the exact date, but I'd say about 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before Mercury goes retrograde, we're in the shadow time of Mercury. So this can be a time where you're already seeing miscommunication or missed appointments or things not making any sense, things to do with the mind, the communication aspect. And then on the 31st, Venus moves into Taurus, where she's a lot more grounded and focuses much more of her attention on money and finances. And finally, on the last day of the month, the 31st, we also have a full moon at 10 degrees of Libra. And, Libra, of course, is about relationships, balance, equality, compromise. And so that full moon is going to be surrounding energies or situations or circumstances regarding that, regarding equality, regarding our partnerships, business partnerships, romantic partnerships, things being in balance. Okay, so we quickly have to get to the cards so we can get through everything. The first card, and I already pulled the cards for the month, is the Sage of Chalices. Now, the Sage is the queen in the traditional tarot deck. So we have the Queen of Cups here. Queen of Cups is about, being in your divine feminine nature, being receptive, being allowing, going with the flow. And, just for the first few days of the month, we're still heavily in that Pisces energy. She is much in her heart chakra. So this is about tuning into your heart chakra, what feels right, what you intuitively feel guided to do, This is about expressing love, expressing compassion, utilizing your psychic abilities, your healing abilities, and just really, you know, feeling good, feeling from your heart. This is what the Sage of Chalices, or the Queen of Cups, is all about. Now let's move. I feel like we need to look at the next card and get more information to kind of see what that's all about. Now when I pulled the second card, 2 cards came out. So we're going to look at 2 cards as the second card. And the first of that is the Sage of Orbs. Now again, the Sage is the Queen, but now the Orbs is in the mental realm. This is dealing with the mental mind, communication, thought, ideas. So now the Queen is on top of her thinking, her communication. She's very loving with that, because the Queen is always loving and creative and, you know, in the divine feminine. But now it's through the communication aspect, the logical aspect. And I found it interesting that the Sage of Cups and the Sage of Orbs both came out. So it's almost like we have to balance the intellect with the intuition. We have to balance our mind and our heart as we move through this month of March. The next card that came out with that second card is the Seeker of Flames. Now the Seeker is the Page and Flames is fire or wands. So we have the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands, or the Page of Fire, is often about messages coming in, quick messages, lots of messages. You know, fire is a very action-oriented kind of suit, so there's a lot happening here. And it's very enthusiastic and adventurous and passionate and, you know, uplifting. So here we have these messages coming in, maybe through our own intuition, you know, maybe through opening up that claircognizant ability and our psychic senses. Maybe the messages are coming from other people. The other thing that struck me here is that we have court cards going on. You know, the Queen is a court card, another Queen. Here we have a Page. So this is also about people. Whenever the court cards come up, it's either aspects within ourself that we're needing to pay attention to, that emulates from the, you know, the cards itself. Like the Queen of Cups is you being emotional and intuitive. The Queen of Air, or Queen of Swords, is you being logical. The Seeker of Flames is you opening up to messages. But this also means other people around you, that there's a lot of activity with connecting with others, networking with others, getting assistance from others, getting guidance from others, speaking and, you know, communicating with others, brainstorming with others. So make sure that other people are somehow involved in your day-to-day planning and life and activities as you move throughout the month of March. The last card that came up is Major Arcana. In this deck, it's 8. In some tarot decks, the Strength card is Major Arcana 11. But in this particular deck, it's Major Arcana number 8 with the Strength card. Now, this card came up in either last week's weekly reading or the week before. But I remember the Strength card coming up. In that deck, it was Major Arcana 11. But here we have the number 8. And the number 8, the 8th Major Arcana, is empowerment. We're empowering ourselves. We're showing confidence, courage, and strength as we move through the month step by step towards our goals and towards where we need to go in our lives. So we have a couple minutes. We really need to get to the special message cards before the video shuts off here. So we're going to take the fairy deck, and the first stone of choice was the clear crystal point, and this card is jumping out at me. Clear crystal point, people, the sun. Now, I say the sun as if it were the sun in the sky, but this is actually the sun like a person's child. And it says, your son is watched over and protected as he explores the world. Now, this could be about a child, your child. This could be about an aspect of yourself, an aspect of your inner child that wants to be adventurous and explore and break out. I mean, that's what a little boy would want to do, right? Be adventurous and explore things. So there might be an aspect within you that wants to come out and you know, be adventurous and search out new ideas and new opportunities. Also, the idea of the sun brings in that idea of courage and confidence. You know, the sun shining is the solar plexus energy of courage and confidence that needs to be paid attention to. All right, for those of you that chose the Amethyst Buddha, this one's calling my name. Oh my, pregnancy, okay? And it says, the birth of a child brings great blessings to you in the world. Now, this could be a literal pregnancy, but We have all those planets moving into Aries this month, and Aries is the new birth. It's the birth of something new. It's initiating something new. That's what the pregnancy here, I feel, means, more so than an actual pregnancy, is we're birthing something new. So you all, amethyst people, it's time to start something new and take action on something new. Birth yourself, birth a new life. And then for those of you that chose the agate, this one's jumping out at me, agate people, love life. Wow. Okay. It says the basis of your question involves your romantic life, which is now changing for the better. So a lot of you have been looking for your soulmates. Again, we're in a time of new beginnings. So now we can initiate that. Now we can take action on that. Now the birth of this idea of love life can also come in. This is also, they're telling me, remember, an 11 master number year, which is a 2-year universally, 2018. This is a time of coming into partnerships, business, romantic, and otherwise. Finding people, our soul family, that we can connect with. So I feel like this is also about a love of life as well, they're saying, passion and loving your life. So those are the things to pay attention for you in the month of March. So again, thank you all for tuning in to the monthly reading. I send you all much love and light and many, many angel blessings. Namaste.